most coaches wouldn't even take those chances. I think one of the reasons why he took the chances, especially late in the game, if you didn't watch this game, late in the game, he could have kicked a field goal, but decided on fourth and about, one or two, to go for it, to give his field goal kicker not only a better shot and angle, because in the next play, Jared Goff moved the ball to the left side of the hash marks, but also to take all the time off the clock.
Yeah, and it was actually 4th and inches, and of course, Jared Goff falls down when handing the ball to David Montgomery.
Right. So, and what ends up happening is that, the last play of the game is going to be the field goal attempt by Bates for the Lions, and he ends up making it, and that's the last play of the game, and that's because on 4th down they went for it. And I'll tell you what, most coaches would never do that. And I think two things here. One, he knows he's got a great offensive line, even though he was missing one guy last night, I think Decker. And then two, he also knew that his defense is so beat up that I don't think he wanted to put them back out on the field with Jordan Love moving the ball down the field. I was wondering if Matt LaFleur at one point was just going to say, broken arrow. And usually what that means for a defense is let the other team score. And then the only way we can get back into this game is for us to get the ball back with a reasonable amount of time and try to score a touchdown ourselves and take it into overtime.
Yeah.
That may have been the only way for Matt LaFleur to do it. But look, if I'm Matt LaFleur and Dan Campbell is going to go for it on 4th down and inches while they're already in field goal range, that's my chance to win the game right there. That would have been if the Packers defense could have done what they did on the previous play on 3rd down, then that would have given them the chance with some reasonable time on the clock to move down the field and kick a field goal themselves. So I give Dan Campbell a lot of credit. We made a lot of fun of him when he first started out there in Detroit.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was fun as much as, we love the meatheadedness. We accentuated the meatheadedness of biting the kneecaps off, but I don't know if it was, making fun like we make fun of a Jim Tom Sula or some of these other guys.
He also had the voice.
Yeah.
And he's been around. He was a player. He was under Parcells. He was, he's been around that group of people. And, he is a throwback type of a coach, but who has now modified his way of thinking and going for it on 4th down. So I think you're right in terms of when we get to the playoffs and he has to do some of these things, and if they don't work out, then he'll get blistered for it. But this is the way, just so everybody understands before we even get there, this is the way he has been calling these games since he has taken over as head coach of the Lions. This is not every Lion fan last night knew that they were going to go for it.
Yeah.
Because they've been watching him for 4 years.
Yeah, and each year it feels like he gets more and more aggressive because he gets more and more confident with his team because they've gotten better every single year that he's been there. And really, when you look at the NFC, it's which defense is going to step up other than the Philadelphia Eagles? The Philadelphia Eagles are right at the top of the rankings of NFL defenses in 2024. And outside of that, the Lions have been banged up. They give up a ton of points. You see the Green Bay Packers defense not so great. Minnesota's up and down. They got Brian Flores, but they should have probably given up 35 points to the Cardinals last week. They just couldn't get in the end zone. So there's been, and even you look at the AFC.
There was a play last night in this game, late in the game. It was on that last drive.
Yeah.
Where Jared Goff drops back and he hits Amon-Ra St. Brown on a dig route. And on that play, David Montgomery, is basically picking up his blitz responsibility. And this is what being an NFL quarterback is all about. There's holy hell breaking loose all around you. You're standing in the pocket, and literally maybe 3 yards, 6 feet, 2 yards in front of you, your running back is cutting the legs out from underneath a linebacker that is going, head over heels.
Sure.
And it's right in front of your face, as if where this camera is right in front of my face. This is where it's all happening.
Yeah.
And this is happening. You see this is happening. You can feel this happening. And somehow you have to stand in there knowing that once that guy goes up in the air and he gets up off the ground, he's going to hit you. And I'm telling you, Jared Goff stood right in there. And as he's throwing the ball, he's getting hit by that guy that just got blocked because he got up off the ground and gave great effort. And he hit Amon-Ra St. Brown right in the numbers, about 20 yards down the field, and it almost created a first down. And then they won. That was the first 4th down. They won for it on that last drive. And that is when a quarterback is playing at the top of his game, because he's able to deal with all of that nonsense going on around him and not flinch at all.
Yeah, and I feel that way about a bunch of quarterbacks right now in both conferences. And what I was saying before was that, there's really like a defense I trust in the NFC, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles.
You don't trust your own Viking. You got your Viking sweat thing on today.
No,
I think you're activated.
Yeah, I felt like wearing it today for whatever reason. I was like, I hadn't put it on, and why not? It's a feel-good football Friday.
Yeah.
But no, as I just mentioned, I watched just about every snap of the game against the Cardinals, and they were getting shredded and probably should have given up a ton of points. So no, that was not a great showing by that defense. You look at the AFC. I mean, the Ravens' defense has had problems. The Bengals are now out of it, but it's because of their defense. The Pittsburgh Steelers gave up a ton of points to the Bengals, but I still think, that is a team that
How
you
about
look at.
the Chargers?
Yeah.
How about the Chiefs?
Chiefs, no, I don't.
You don't
really
like the Chiefs defense?
I don't really trust them. I mean, they give all those points they gave up to the Panthers. Like, I don't know.
They're sleepwalking through that game.
But okay,
to me, they're kind of bored. They got a couple guys that are injured. They don't play them. Andy knows that it's all about January, February football. He's going to be fine. They're going to be fine. But I would say the two. If you had to ask me about the best defenses, the Chargers, I know they haven't played the greatest and toughest of schedules, but they have one of the better defenses. The Chiefs have one of the better defenses. The Steelers have one of the better defenses.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like there's a great defense this year. This has been a trend over the last couple of years where it's just harder to have a dominant defense in the NFL. But that's what I'm looking right now to separate these teams, because just as you described that great Jared Goff play, I could put that ball into the hands of a number of guys to have their teams in the playoffs, and I trust them to make those big plays. I just, it's what team. I mean, look at the Cincinnati Bengals are the perfect example of this. I mean, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase could not be having better offensive years. It's like impossible, the numbers they're putting up, and they're completely out of the playoff picture at this point.
Their first month was horrendous, though.
Yeah, but
you can't lose to the Patriots on opening game
they've scored
in your
31
building.
points 4 times and lost.
Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, that's really what their issue
I'm a
is.
huge advocate for those guys, but I'm just saying their slow starts, over the last 3 years are really what's hurt them. And, now it's really come back to bite them in the ass, especially with all the injuries that they've had on defense.
Yeah, I watched that. I don't know if you saw it. I watched the HBO Max Hard Knocks in-season AFC North yesterday.
Yeah.
And, it's fine. It's a good good NFL Films special type of thing, and you get some Mike Tomlin stuff that you don't normally see. There's not a ton of things in there that you learn, but it's good to see behind the curtain there. But some of the Bengals stuff, I just still see Joe Burrow as goofy as he is, though. Like I still, out of like any quarterback, I think I could just pluck off a team and put on my team. I still think it would be him. I'm just because he's got more untapped potential at this point. I'm talking right now. Like Patrick Mahomes has already won a bunch of Super Bowls. Like I'm talking right now.
What about Josh Allen?
Yeah, I still would take Burrow.
I'll tell you what, Josh Allen he didn't have Jamar Chase on his team.
No, I know, but
he didn't have T. Higgins on his team.
I know.
I will tell you this, that Josh Allen, to me, has had to do more than any other quarterback in the league this year.
He's probably going to win the MVP.
I don't know. I mean, Lamar is going to have great numbers, and Lamar will have numbers that we've never seen before in terms of passing yards and rushing yards together. And he's having a great offensive season as well. I mean, this is going to be a real debate, I think, especially if Buffalo gets the number 1 seed. I don't know how Josh Allen doesn't get it. I really don't. I mean, like, his numbers may not be as good as some of the other numbers, but let's face it, he is that team. I mean, I know James Cook has really come on great, and it's been a really nice thing for them to have that two-headed monster kind of like Baltimore has. But, man, I'll tell you what, Josh Allen has been better than he's ever been. He's protecting the football. They're winning games. He doesn't have a wide receiver in his ear on the sideline screaming at him. And you can see that he's playing a much more relaxed game. They don't miss Stephon Diggs at all.
Well, it's funny. I heard a clip from Deion Dawkins, who is up there in Buffalo with him now, one of his offensive linemen, and he was funny about it. But he basically said like that Josh Allen's never been happier, and that happiness is is permeating through that locker room, making everybody play better. And he implied that the two reasons why he's so happy was the fact that he got engaged and Steph Diggs isn't around anymore.
Right. Well, yeah. There you go.
Basically, that's what he was implying.
He's playing his best ball. He's the consummate leader, the consummate professional, that's the kind of guy like the Jets and the Giants need.
Well, of course, yeah.
Or a Joe Burrow for sure. Yeah, I would agree
There's
with
just
that. Or
something
Lamar
about
Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. Someone,
Right,
one of
exactly.
those 4 or 5 guys, or even like. I think the Lions initially, when they got rid of Matthew Stafford and they traded for Jared Goff, they were thinking stopgap.
Stopgap spot.
They were thinking a stopgap spot, and they got off to a really bad start that first year and a half.
Yeah.
It was not good until the second year, and when it all kicked in, the offense kicked in. Some of their young guys, some of their draft picks started playing well, and now you see this offense. And again, it's another reminder that Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, is going to be at the top of the coaching list.
Yeah, as he was last year, and didn't feel like there was a fit, said there was unfinished business, all of that. But you would imagine that there's going to be at least a couple of opportunities this year. It's going to be hard to pass up. But listen, I know there's no like right answer, and it's all opinions and everything else. You can't say anything bad about Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. For just watching a guy as effortlessly throw the football as Joe Burrow does, like it's like you should appreciate this feeling that I'm about to. It's like aesthetically pleasing to me. It's like watching Picasso.
There's only one guy who may throw the ball better than he does, from a technical standpoint in the league.
And
Justin Herbert.
Okay, yeah. I don't see as much of Herbert as I do Burrow, but yeah, I could see how people would say that. But yeah, it's just I don't know, just watching him and he's goofy and he's silly.
He's very silly and very goofy.
And I'm like, he went into Kansas City and won, and like I don't know. I was like, man, it just sucks that they're not back in it. It just sucks.
They're a fun team.
But also, like, they went in there and they called it Burrowhead and everything else. And, like, I don't know. The Bills going to go in there and win, and the Ravens going to go in there and win.
Hey, the Bills may not have to go in there and win.
It's true.
The Bills just keep doing what they're doing. They may have home field advantage. That's why these games at the end of the year, just like
they need the Chiefs to lose.
Yeah, well, the Chiefs play the Chargers this week. Yeah, that ain't gonna be easy. I mean, are the Chiefs going 16-1 or 15-2?
They could, man. They really could.
Can the Buffalo Bills go 15-2?
Who would? Yeah. What's the what you would call the tiebreaker there? I guess it would be
the Bills beat the Chiefs.
Beat them. Yeah, that's right, head to head. Yep. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I don't know. The Chiefs are just. If you're telling me the Chiefs are just bored and they're going to turn it on in the playoffs, like, can we get somebody else? Somebody else in the Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, like I said, Lions and Eagles or the Lions and the Vikings, or the Lions and the Packers in the NFC Championship game, I think would really be a great game. Any one of those 4 teams.
Yeah.
And I think the Lions have to be there in order to really make it super special and to play one of the 3 teams I just said, your team, Philadelphia, or Green Bay. And then on the other side of the ledger, I mean, there's so many like weird like kind of matchups. Like I don't want to see the Steelers and the Bills. You don't want to see that in the AFC Championship game.
You make it a snow game. I don't know. I would. There's matchups I would prefer, but I wouldn't.
You would prefer
I wouldn't be,
Kansas City at Buffalo.
I wouldn't.
I would prefer that too because I'd like to see the NFL Today crew up in Buffalo.
Yeah, maybe they'll light themselves on fire and then jump through the tables this time around.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see much worse matchups than that.
You don't want to see the Broncos and the Chiefs. You don't want to see the Ravens and the Bills.
No, it'd be fine. That'd be okay.
Could the Miami Dolphins make it?
I don't know. You asked me that last week, and I said maybe, and now I don't believe so.
Well, they would have to win the rest of their games, I believe, to get to 10-7.
Yeah. Well, they got to win this week, so you can chalk that one up in the win column. So then how many more?
The Jets are still in the hunt.
They actually technically aren't eliminated. I always reference our guy Joey from Yonkers who sends us stuff. He'll sit around all day and play with that ESPN like playoff thing, you know?
Yeah.
And find a way every week for the Jets to make the playoffs. It's hilarious.
To the playoffs.
It's hilarious. Yeah, so they technically still could.
The problem with everybody that is listed in the hunt column, they all have losing records. and all the wild cards right now are 3 games above 500.
Yeah, not really in the hunt. I mean, basically, it's just, not mathematically
And
eliminated.
the Chargers are actually 4 games above 500 at 8-4, so they've played 1 less game.
Yeah, I'm already ready for some playoff football, man. I'm already there. I'm already fired up for it.
Jim Harbaugh in the playoffs, first year with the Chargers.
Yeah, I've always loved him as a head coach, and it was going to work if he had a quarterback, and there it was.
Man, you get him at 3 teams out of the AFC West. I don't think anybody expected that.
They did the previous year. Remember, everybody was talking about it when Sean Payton first got there with Russell Wilson? Like, everybody expected that division to be great, the AFC West, and then it just wasn't. It was just the Chiefs again. But then coming into this year, nobody was talking about it that way, and here they are. And 3, so you get 3 out of the AFC West and 3 out of the NFC North.
It's amazing. And even more importantly, you see who made his Nick debut last night.
I did. I saw it. You know what? It was great. His season debut. Not his Nick debut.
Well, I
but
mean,
his
season debut.
Yeah. So, but I saw it trending in that direction in the afternoon, seeing some of the articles come in, and I said, I think tonight's going to be the night. And I was going to text you, but I didn't want to throw you off your game and watching him. And there he is. Some highlights. Precious Achua.
Yeah, it was a special night for him getting back on the court after dealing with a hamstring injury. He didn't have a great night, but he was a little winded there towards the end.
Hey, man.
Got his 12 minutes.
Right. Just get him back out
I'm
there.
not saying that he needs to be playing 25 minutes. Just let him play his 12 to 14 minutes, and we're good to go.
Just a little rev the engine situation there.
He's like a fourth-line player for the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? And the fourth-liners are important, man.
Skin in the game.
Exactly. Tough defense, rebounding. You got to have those guys.
Precious.
And that's why I was screaming and yelling that he needed to have playing time in the playoffs last year. You got to, if he's going to come in and he's going to be the guy that you want him to be, then he's got to be playing in those playoff games when they get there.